Hey, you guys. Welcome back. You're tuning in to episode 7 of Nowhere to Hide. Now, if you're new to my podcast, my name is Alexis, and this episode is really just going to be a little, kind of like you could call it a part 2 of the Get to Know Me, where I guess it's a however many months since then check-in of just, where I am at mentally, where I'm at career-wise at the moment, and just what I'm trying to figure out with this podcast. But before I get to talking, for those who are watching the video version or who have been keeping up with the video version, as y'all can see, there's nothing in my lap. And me with this podcast, for those who have been following, y'all have seen how, I have my little book up, or my little notebook in my lap, and I'll basically come up with a structure to how I'd like my podcast to go, just specifically the episode. Let's say, just broad topic, we're talking about African culture in the podcast, and if there's certain points or little topics within that topic that I want to touch base on, I'll basically create a little outline of just, talk about this, couple sub points. Then after that, we could go into this couple sub points. But now the issue that I found with that, and even though I've kind of been feeling like it is something that I am going to have to let go, but I definitely was made aware of the issue in my last episode when I was filming with Josh. And, he's going to tell me like it is. And I remember there were certain points when we had to just stop because he was like, babe, you need to lose the book. And my Virgo self likes control of things. And it was very hard for me to put the book away just because, I like things to be neat, structured, orderly. But at the same time, I'm realizing too with the podcast, because I'm not about to say I write exactly what I need to say. I still speak from the heart, but definitely I'm learning just with this podcast, it's really just about yapping and not caring where the conversation goes. But obviously, you have the topics that you want to talk about, but just yap. And, sometimes I'm nervous to just talk, especially with starting the podcast. And I know it's about talking, but I'm afraid if I'm going to ramble, if I'm going to lose you guys, hence the structure. But this is the first episode where I am not using the notebook. So just bear with me. And I'm sorry if I'm going to be just talking. But okay. So I guess let's start where I am right now mentally. And this week is pretty good. I just came from my training today. Like I mentioned briefly in my last episode, I am training to become a behavioral technician, and I'm going to be just working at this clinic where we're just going to be doing behavioral analysis on autistic children. So I have my competency exam tomorrow just to see if I can become a RBT, a registered behavioral technician. And I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited as well. But yeah, I've just been training for the last 3 weeks, absorbing hella information on ABA therapy and what all goes into that, and just how to implement that therapy just onto the kids in a good way, and just certain routes we need to take when it comes to correcting maladaptive behavior. So it's been really interesting. I feel like for the first time in my whole college career, since I even knew I wanted to be a psych major my freshman year of high school, after knowing from then to now, I feel like I'm finally doing just what I've always wanted to be doing. I feel like a real psychologist. I'm actually learning about a specific therapy, and I'm going to be using that therapy and seeing the progression of the child over time. I'm just excited for what that's to bring. So yeah, that's exciting there. But I mean, other than the good stuff, new opportunity, I did have a little depressing weekend, because what's today? Today is Wednesday. It is Wednesday. And definitely Saturday through Monday, just, a little depressing dip. And it was the first time I've kind of been real sad in a while. When the sadness kind of overtakes you, doesn't make you want to do anything. you feel like everything's going to make you cry type sadness. Not to, put a damper on the podcast right off rip, but, I want to be honest with you guys to a degree. But it has been a depressing, last couple days. Yesterday was a good day, better spirits-wise. But it's just been due to, I would say there's just a lot, going on in my life in regards to just, my personal, when it comes to just friends, having a little friend anxiety, and that's never fun. And just navigating through just personal, just family tiff or whatever, beefing with my older brother at the moment. Yeah. But, just little things like that where I feel like with those little situations that I have going on, what's kind of depressing me is being able to let things be. It is what it is. What will be. Que sera. That type motto. I've known the motto, but it's always been just really hard for me to do it. With having friend anxiety. I'm not going to say the situation blatantly, but it's just a matter of, feeling like you have a friend that you love, but it may be drifting apart and you don't want it to drift apart. But it comes a point where, because I feel like I found myself in a position with friends over the years where, something might be slipping or, a friendship may not be you can tell the energy has changed, and I'll be the one to always try and fix it or be the first to start that conversation of what's going on. But I feel like I just create more stress for myself when I do that. And instead of doing that, I should just, if that friend's drifting apart or if that friend is acting different, just let it be. Don't overthink it, because that's another thing. Definitely tend to overthink sometimes. And, I may overthink it and it may not be anything at all. Or just, I'll overthink it and it may not be anything. Or I'll overthink it and it is something, but I'll just get myself into a cycle to where it's stressing me when, if the friendship's drifting, if stuff is changing, it is what it is. And if it will fix itself, it will fix itself. If it won't, why stress myself? Why stress myself to do that? But again, guys, I'm saying this, but I'm going to still be stressing. I need to take my own advice better. But, I had to bounce back, by at least Tuesday. I told myself I'd bounce back after, the depressing weekend Monday, but cried a little Monday. But Tuesday, I'm back because, y'all, I need to pass this competency exam. I want to get my RBT certification. I want to move up in this job. I know I can make money. And I'm just excited, too, for, the opportunity that the job is going to bring. And just learning just the different positions, different ways to therapy, etc. Just, it's going to be exciting. But I know I also did ask you guys, too, on my Instagram, if you follow the Instagram, at Nowhere to Hide Pod. But I posted on my story a couple days ago just asking you guys to interact with me and just tell me some things that you'd like to hear on this episode or for future episodes. I'm trying to be a little bit more active on Instagram and definitely more platforms. Please bear with me. It is way more difficult than I thought it would be before I started to now. But I did ask you guys that. And only 2 of y'all answered. Shout out to Tyler and Prince, because I at least had 30 views on that story, and none of y'all wanted to even swipe up. Please interact with me, engage with me, so I can engage with you, please. But, I guess let's go to the first question that was asked that, they wanted to hear me kind of discuss on the pod. And one of the questions of the 2 was just what keeps me going every day when I wake up, especially with everything that I got going on. And definitely, I would say recently, within these last 3 weeks, this new job. Because again, I went from being a server at my little hotel job. I was a server for the last 2 years. And when I tell you this place only opened at 4 p.m. So I would either find myself going in at 3 to open, or I'm coming in at 5 and I'll be potentially closing. But literally, I would be working from 4 o'clock when we open. At best, I can make it out at 12, but usually we'd be getting out at like 1 or 2, especially on the weekends. You know, during the week, if it's slow, at best, you could get out at like 11. I'd want to say 10 or earlier, but, you know, the management I left them with did not like cutting. But yeah, it was a lot working that job is basically what I was trying to say. The routine with that job too, working just late, it would have me just making it really hard to wake up in the morning. Now I wake up early with this new job and doing the trainings and stuff, but it would be a struggle to get myself out of bed by like noon. But I'd still do it, but definitely like noon, any earlier than noon, I just couldn't because, you know, I probably work till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. By the time I'm off work, my brain's still running. I know I'm not going to be able to go to sleep for an hour or a couple hours. So I'm probably like up till 3, 4, get a good little 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep, wake up around noon, maybe 1 o'clock. Days overshadowed by me having to go in once again at 4 p.m. It's just a cycle. And yeah, can't do it. I did not have motivation, but these last 3 weeks, I have had to get up at least by 8:50-ish, 9. Like 9, I should be already brushing, washing my face. Like I'm ready to put on clothes and go. But this job just has flipped my routine all the way around. Now I am waking up early around like 8:30-ish, 9. Out of here by like 9:30, 9:40 latest. Because it's about like a 15, 20 minute drive from here with the morning traffic. But definitely just the motivation of, you know, having this new job, and not only a new job, but it playing into my degree. And I'm learning therapy. I'm learning ABA therapy. It's interesting. It intrigues me. Like, it actually makes me wake up in the morning. Like, I'm proud to say that within these last 3 weeks, I have not missed one day of training. And I've always had to be there from 10 to 2. And just, yeah, y'all, for those who know me and knew my schedule before, like, I am so proud of myself, and y'all should be proud of me too, because I don't know how I'm waking up this early consecutively, but we doing it again tomorrow. But that definitely is just a motivation that keeps me going, wakes me up. But again, before I even had this job opportunity 3 weeks ago, I'd say what really keeps me going is this podcast. And I know I keep bringing it back to the podcast, but this podcast it's what drives me. I know whether it's me working on reels or me thinking up ideas on what to do for the podcast, just that's what keeps me going every day, knowing that you guys are listening, knowing that my points that I make and the topics that I want to bring up and talk about intrigue people, move people, get people to open up as well. It's you guys, the podcast and the people watching. You guys just, you know, you keep me going to just keep trying to provide content, keep trying to learn the new ways that I can, you know, visualize the stuff that I'm saying. Like, y'all motivate me. You really do. And I guess, I don't know, we could go to the second question that was given to me. And it was pretty much just how Nowhere to Hide has impacted me personally, just the podcast and how it's impacted me just since I've started or just now currently. But I guess how, let me think a little bit. I don't know. I do know. I'm tripping. But I guess how Nowhere to Hide has impacted me personally would be the usual. Let me start with the usual thing that people do or that people say when you're just starting something that's like putting content out there, being vulnerable online in any sort of way, just speaking your mind. I guess, you know, just having that feeling. I don't know. I'm trying to think of how to put it. Honestly, how Nowhere to Hide has impacted me, one of the main ways I would say is it's definitely made me stronger and toughened me up. Definitely that. because again, where I was going before, I feel like just when you're putting anything out online, whether it's a podcast, or just creating content that you love, cooking, like whatever the case may be, everyone's going to have an opinion on that. Like, some people are going to think your cooking sucks or you did this wrong. Or with a point I may make on the podcast, they're going to think that I'm being offensive or I'm doing this. And I feel like it's just a lot of me just practicing within myself. Maybe not practicing within myself, but just keeping that like within myself, that I know what I'm trying to say. I know what I'm trying to do with this podcast. I know the point that I'm trying to make by saying certain things. And if people want to get it, they can get it. If people don't want to get it, they can try to. But if people just want to be one with their own opinion and just run with their narrative of what they think you're trying to do, you can't help people. People are always going to think what they want to think. Like, just even me talking about like my family, for instance, and just the stuff that I've been through. People may listen to what I've been saying about my family or my content, whatever, and be like, oh, this girl is ungrateful. Or, oh, this girl really must hate her parents, or, despise her parents for sending her to that school, whatever like the case may be, when in reality, no, like, yeah, I'm talking about like the stuff that I've been through, which may have not been the best. Like, I'm talking about negatives that maybe my parents have contributed to, but where have I said I hate my parents? But people, again, they'll run with their own narrative of thinking they know what you may be trying to say and go with that. And it hurts, it sucks, but at the same time, I can't let the hurt, get to me, because I know what I'm trying to do. I know what I'm trying to say. And that's that. So I guess it's made me stronger, because definitely at the, not at the beginning of this year, I was about to say, but like, let's say last summer specifically, because last summer is when I started BetterHelp therapy, and it's been really good. I'm still in it, but definitely don't go as often as I used to. But I remember when I was talking with my therapist just about like, starting this podcast, and one of my biggest fears was that I wouldn't be able to handle it, like, at all. I just thought that people's opinions would get to me, or just I would overthink what I'm trying to say and people twisting it and making it something else. I was just really worried about how people would perceive me. And that's always been an issue that I've had. Y'all have heard me open up about it already, that I used to have just heavy self-esteem issues. And, maybe that was coming out with my little anxieties and fears about the podcast. But that was a thing for me, just being worried about how people would perceive, like, just how people would perceive me and what I'm trying to say. But definitely from doing therapy up until when I started, in January, my first podcast episode, and going from there, I feel like I prepared myself being in the therapy, like just doing like the things that I need to do for myself to uplift myself and get myself to a point and position to where I know I would be okay, like putting out my first podcast episode and not, go into a meltdown or something. But therapy was just definitely that tool that I used to be able to give me the backbone that I needed to execute this podcast how I'm doing today. And even in regards to like posting the episodes as well, I feel like at the beginning of like just doing this podcast, I was very like, I put a lot of pressure on myself, is what I'm trying to say, when it came to just the quality of my podcast, like just how it looked, how the editing was, everything. I just was very particular and beating myself up about certain things at the beginning. But now I feel like I've gotten to a point I've gotten to a point of not caring, to where I will just post an episode. Even when I see like, because it's not going to be perfect, y'all. I'm still learning as I go. As you can see, like that last episode killed me when it came to that lighting at the end. But, I'm still learning. I don't have a light system. All I have is a little ring light staring back at me right now. I don't have, nice lighting systems to make sure that my, setting is up to par every single time, but I've come to just let that part of myself go when it comes to just being a perfectionist and wanting everything to look and come out a certain way. Because if I want this podcast to be running, I can't be caring about every little thing. I just need to put out content and hope for the best. And then once I have the means to invest into more things so it can be even more perfect, then I'll do that. But I feel like I've just gotten stronger when it comes to just my confidence in my work, to where, okay, I may not love the YouTube video, like the video version of the podcast. Like, it's not my favorite, but at the same time, is the audio good? Like, are people understanding and hearing like what I'm wanting them to understand and hear? Like, that's all just audio. Camera's there, it's clear enough. Okay, maybe I might have some harsh cuts where I may have like taken out certain little snippets, but as long as everything is coming across the way I'm wanting it to come across, that's all that matters at the moment. And then as time goes by, I will perfect, and get better. That's just something I've had to come to terms with, and I feel like I've definitely gotten stronger with, like, since starting Nowhere to Hide. But I feel like also I've like gotten a better sense of awareness in regards to just what I say and how it'll affect certain people. Specifically speaking, I had a really good conversation with my dad the other day, like a few days ago, and he was just catching up with me. He was apologizing to me like a lot of people do, being like, oh, I'm sorry I haven't listened to your podcast episodes yet. Like, I keep telling everyone the same exact answer. One, it is okay. And two, like, I'd rather y'all not just be waiting every single time. Like, let the episodes pile up so you're just able to just listen as you please and you're not just having to wait or whatever. But I know my dad was just talking to me about how he hasn't gotten to some of the episodes yet, but he's excited to, hear them. He usually will give me feedback, just what I could do better, whatever, just with each episode. But he was just telling me how, even though he hasn't heard some episodes, to just make sure that I'm aware that some people can take things a certain way, things can be misconstrued, whatever. Even though he wasn't saying explicitly, like, you have said this on your podcast, which has been taken this way. He was just making me more aware of the fact that, hey, just letting you know, with you talking about these sensitive topics, a lot of people may take it as this way. Or how I said before, just simply like me talking about how I may have hated, like, the school I was in growing up, when, the reality too behind that is my parents worked very hard, spent a lot of money to keep me and my siblings in that school, to give us the education that, we wanted, which I still appreciate to this day. But at the same time, like, some people may take that, like, hearing what I may say, and take it as me, like, just not realizing the other side to that, So he was just giving me, like, constructive criticism on that, and just letting me know to just remember to be aware, and that things may come off like this. And that conversation also involved me, like, clarifying stuff with him too, like, hey, like, if I do say this, that, and the third on the podcast, just know that I mean it like this. And I feel like that was also, with that conversation, it was just me realizing too that I need to have those conversations with people in my personal life. Because, this podcast, I talk about my life. I talk about things that's going on with me personally, but also that may involve outside people. But again, I don't talk on other people's business. I talk on my business, and, some people may be intertwined with that, but I don't speak on anyone else's things. But I am just being made more aware the more that I do these podcasts and episodes, that, if I am speaking on something, like, definitely to just, like, if I'm speaking on something specifically about someone, or specifically me name dropping my dad and mom all the time, I'll just use them, for example, because I have been doing that a lot, and just making sure that I also prioritize those conversations with them to let them know, like, hey, like, just making sure you don't think I meant this on this way, or whatever the case may be. Even though I literally love and appreciate my parents so much, because I've literally had none of that from them. All they've just been is just supportive. And I couldn't be happier. But definitely growing stronger since I started Nowhere to Hide, and growing more of a sense of awareness when it comes to things I talk about and the way I say certain things. I feel like that has been, I guess you could say that's been the two ways that I can think of at the moment on how this podcast has impacted me. But I guess another thing I wanted to talk about too is just my different approach, hence no book. I still can't believe I've been just talking, yapping this long. I hope you guys are still there and I haven't bored you. But definitely I'm just trying to, like, this different approach that I'm trying to do is just, I feel like in a way showing more of my personality too to my audience. Like, I want you guys to get to know the real me, not like the structured version of me having my little outline. And, you know, even though I still spoke from the heart, but definitely a structured version of my heart to where I try to limit the way I will just go off into tangents or wander or just speak about whatever. When in reality, you know, a podcast is just about talking through topics, speaking on your feelings and connecting and coming to different conclusions and ideas on different topics. I don't know. But I'm just really heavily trying to do that. This is the first of many episodes of me not having like just a book to refer to and just having the topics. Like, I did come to this knowing like what I wanted to talk about. I knew the questions and just that I wanted to update you guys on my life and just where I'm at now with the podcast. But definitely I'm going to be doing more of this style to where I'm just talking. I'll keep interacting with you guys too on social media, and you guys let me know what you want to see. Definitely more content coming soon as well. I want to try like just putting you guys on, like, let's say you want to start a podcast, even though I do not want to make it seem like on social media I am an expert, because y'all, like, I use my iPhone for my camera. Like, I still don't have like high-tech equipment and know all the little ways to do this, that, and the third, but what I'm doing is still working for me, and I'm still able to produce the content that I'm producing with the like few things that I have, which is great, and I'd like to share that with you guys too. It's just a matter of finding the time to make these videos and post them, but I swear to you guys, I will be better. I have been saying most of my episodes, I'm going to have a better routine. This new job is the start. I'm telling y'all, I'm waking up early. Like, I could even be waking up even earlier before my job to like eat, maybe just do some computer work. I don't know how I'm going to puzzle it together, but I'm going to do it. And more content to come, seriously. But I don't know, you guys. Like, I usually have, like, I feel like it's coming to an end. I don't know. I really want to, my goal, because I really do want to engage with my audience more, even though I don't even think I have that big of an audience. But for those who are following and listening, like, I really do want to engage with you guys and know what you guys want from me, and, you know, what you guys may be going through too, just so I can base certain episodes on that and help people out. Like, I just want to help y'all. That's it. But yeah, I don't know what else to say, but I think it is coming to an end. I just love everyone so much for the support that I've gotten so far, for the support that I've gotten from other podcasters too as well. I'm just excited for what's to come. I'm excited for what's to come with this new job, as well as I'm excited for what's to come with this podcast and the new things that I'll be putting out and just how you guys may receive that. I'm just excited for the future. But I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, night, or whatever the case may be. And please, I pray, I hope the next time that I get on this podcast, I tell you guys that I'm RBT certified. Please, cross fingers. But thank you for tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button if you can, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye. Yeah, give me the money, yeah. Because you go. Only me take it, low.